What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing some NBA.
Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
We're going to be going over the three topics I just shown you, and I'm going to give you guys my unbiased truth. Alright, so we've got the top three contenders. First off, I'm going to take us to the standings for the NBA. Where is it? Standings. Alright, so this is the current standings with about a week left in the season. Doesn't look like a whole lot's going to change in the East. Maybe the Celtics get in, the Heat get out, whatever. You know, a lot could happen in the West. Dallas could even go to the play-in. Los Angeles, they could get back in. Who knows what's going to happen with that? That's going to be interesting to see if the Lakers have to play the Warriors. But right now, we're going to go over the top three contenders. I think these three teams are the only ones that have a real good shot at winning. Of course, any team that makes the playoffs can win, but I think these teams are, 95 out of 100 times going to win the championship for this season. All right, so we got one from the East, two from the West, and I think you guys can probably put together at least two of the three teams I'm going to say. All right, for the East, we've got none other than the Brooklyn Nets. I think this is a pretty good choice because they've got two of the top five scorers in the league. They got Kyrie, and they're just loaded on offense. If they can play even okay defense, that's all they have to do. Play okay defense, and they should easily be able to come out of the East. As long as their roster is healthy, if they have everyone going into the playoffs and they play a lick of defense, I'm confident that it would be the Brooklyn Nets coming out of the East because we've seen Milwaukee. They break down in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to change. Philadelphia, I don't think they're for real. And the rest of the teams, they just can't compete with Brooklyn. Brooklyn's just got too many stars. They're too good. And unless there's a complete playoff meltdown, I think they're going to be the ones coming out of the East with a real shot at the title. All right, moving on to the West. So the two teams I got in the West are the LA Clippers and, of course, the Lakers. The Lakers are an obvious choice. Granted, they are in the play-in. They're not looking good right now. However, once they get LeBron back, all bets are off. All right, we've seen what this guy's done. It doesn't matter if he's the first seed, the second seed, the eighth seed, whatever it is. You just can't bet against this guy come playoff time. We've seen what he's done year after year, being the quote-unquote underdog, even though he never really was. You just can't bet against him, and if he's healthy, if Anthony Davis is healthy and the rest of the team, they have just as good a shot as anyone to come out of the West, regardless of their seeding. Especially for this year, home court's not really going to matter. You're going to have some fans in attendance, but it's not a big a deal this year as it was before. And of course, even if they're on the road majority of the time, I think LeBron, Anthony Davis, those guys have the playoff experience needed to be just okay on the road. They'll be fine. And the Clippers, they got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Those guys have made deep playoff runs. Kawhi, obviously, he has a ring. He has two rings, I should say. Forgot about that second one. And Paul George, I know he's known as the playoff choker.
Shots, though.
George, way off. It's the side of the backboard.
However, he's had some good playoff runs in the past with the Pacers. He has a lot of playoff experience, so I don't think you can count them out. I know what happened last year. They melted down, but I think they have a good roster. As long as they don't do what they did last year and blow a 3-1 lead, they'll be in the Western Conference Finals, maybe even the Finals. I think this year we'll get that Lakers-Clippers matchup that we anticipated last year. Okay, so for the Brooklyn Nets, their strengths and weaknesses, clearly their strengths is offense, ball handling. They could score 140 a night easily every night. If they are healthy, they are the best offense in the league. They have the star power, they have the experience, and they even have the role players to support them like Joe Harris. James Harden really completes the offense. He's the facilitator, he's the ball handler, and of course he's an amazing top 5 scorer in the league. So really they are the closest thing from flawless on offense as there can be. However, of course, the weaknesses for that team is, number one, staying healthy. We've seen this year that Kyrie's had some time off. KD's missed a lot of games. James Harden, he's currently out right now, and who knows when he's coming back. And of course, they don't play a lick of defense. I mean, they'll be giving up 120, 130 points a night. They're just like the Warriors teams from a couple years ago. They're going to outscore you. If they're making shots, then they'll win the game. But if they miss, if they're not on that night, their defense isn't going to bail them out. So really their biggest weakness is they're going to have to try and get their defense elevated a bit more. And they're going to have to stay healthy, because if they're missing key players come the playoff time, all it takes is a couple games and you're out. Their offense has to be on most nights. They can afford a night where they struggle shooting, scoring, whatever. They can afford a couple of those nights in the playoffs. However, if they choke a 3-4 game span, not creating good offense all the time, then their defense isn't going to save them. They're going to be bounced early, and there's going to be nothing they can do. All right, guys, the LA Clippers, their strengths, obviously they have the experience just like the Nets. They have a good all-around roster now. They got shooters. They have the experienced playmaker in Rajon Rondo. I think that was a great trade for them. Lou Williams is obviously a beast, but I think Rondo's the type of ball handler and leadership that team just really needed. You know, they've got solid defensive players. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverly. Serge Ibaka is a good defensive big man. So really, like, the offense and the defense is there. They just need everyone healthy, and they need their guys on the top of their game. And I think they are a very good team, arguably the best team in basketball when fully healthy. Yeah, looking at the Clippers, I mean, you got Kawhi Leonard, 25 a game, Paul George, 24. You got 4 other players in double digits. I mean, you're moving the ball all around. And you see you got the Clippers at 10th place in points per game. And let's see about that defense. Yeah, number 5 in defense. So obviously top 10 offense, top 5 defense. It's very good. I think they can elevate it to maybe even a top 5 offense, better defense come playoff time. And they're just a good all-around team. I don't think that team really has any more flaws after they traded for Rondo, because they're just a good, complete team now. Now, of course, the weaknesses with the Clippers, we saw them last year. They can have some chemistry issues. Paul George not performing in the playoffs, and they could just completely melt down come playoff time. And, you know, you could be hot all season long. However, if you have a stretch of 5 to 10 games where you just play horrible as a team, it's all it takes and you're done. So really, their goal is just to keep things collected, keep the chemistry up, play good basketball like they do all season, and I think they can make a run to the conference finals, maybe even finals, who knows. I think the talent's definitely there. All right, guys, now, of course, the Lakers, the defending champions, they have 2 of the top 10 players in basketball, Anthony Davis, LeBron James. And, you know, they got 4 other guys in double digits. They got a ton of guys creeping up, too. They have the star power. Obviously, LeBron has 4 rings. Anthony Davis, the whole team has 1 from last year. They've got the experience. And they have that bigger size advantage over other teams if they run Harrell, Davis, and LeBron at the same time. That's plenty of size. And they also added Dennis Schroeder in the offseason. They made some good moves. They got their bench even stronger. And they've got more guys contributing this year than they did last year. Obviously, they're the defending champions. All they got to do is, you know, play well. Just have your 2 stars, LeBron and Anthony Davis, just dominate the games, you know, take over and let the role players spot up and shoot. LeBron and Davis aren't playing well, then someone else is going to have to step up, and quite frankly, I don't know who, but we'll have to see. Their weaknesses, of course, they don't really have a whole lot of knockdown shooters. Of course, all of them can shoot it decent, but you want at least a couple guys on the team where, you know, it's automatic every time. The defense is all over him, and he can draw some attention away from your star players. Kind of like what Joe Harris does for the Nets. And we've seen the last couple weeks, the Lakers are just free-falling in the standings. Here, let's take a look again. NBA standings. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're in the play-in. I think they'll finish with one of the top 6 seeds, so they'll have that 7-game series to start off instead of the one-and-done play-in. But, you know, I mean, this shit's concerning. Like, they're going to be the 5, 6, or 7 seed. I think we can agree on that. But, they're going to have to play a damn good team in the first round. Not going to have home court. Not really a big deal, but you don't want to be playing these difficult teams in the first round, You want that first round to be a relatively easy team if you want to win the title. Because, you got 3 rounds till you get to the finals. That could be 15, 20 games. Your players are going to get tired. You want to be able to take some time off. And the Lakers this year, they're not going to be able to do that. Let's say they get the 6th seed. They're going to be playing the Clippers, Nuggets, first round. And, that's going to be tough for them. Last year, they had the Trailblazers first round. Nowhere near as good as these two teams are. If they do get this 7-8 play-in, they'll be facing the Suns the first round. Honestly, I'd rather be facing the Suns than the Clippers. I know the Suns are really good this year. They've got Chris Paul, but I just don't think the rest of the team's going to have that experience to keep up in the playoffs against the Lakers. So maybe it's a good idea if they do fall for the play-in, because the Suns are just a much better matchup for the first round than the Clippers would be. But, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season unfolds. If we get that Lakers and Warriors play-in game, that's going to be a really good one. I think everyone's going to be watching that, and it could be Game of the Year material. All right, so who do I think is going to win it all? Personally, this year, I think it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. I think they just got too much star power, too much offense, and assuming they're healthy, of course. If they're not healthy, different ball game. But if they are healthy, I think it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets winning the finals. And it's not going to be very difficult for them. I mean, they got 2 of the top 6 players, James Harden, KD, and then a top 12, 15 player in Kyrie Irving. I mean, come on. I would say they're just a slightly weaker Golden State Warriors. That 2016 to 2018 teams with Kevin Durant. They're just lacking a little bit of chemistry, and of course, they don't have the defensive stopper like Klay Thompson was, and they don't have that selfless player like Steph Curry who can sacrifice some stats in order to win the games, win the title. As long as they're all on the same page, they're all trying to win the title and are going to sacrifice to get there, I think the Brooklyn Nets are just going to win it easily. Once James Harden comes back, he's the most important player on that team. You see, when he got injured, they lose. When he's in the game, they win. Just look at the stats. Come on, 28 points a game, 27, 25. Caris LeVert, he's not on the team anymore, so I don't know why he's there. Whatever. We got Joe Harris still. LaMarcus, nope. Jared Allen, nope. Blake Griffin, yep. Damn, that's a big roster. Now, I know all the players aren't there. Oh, yeah, and Spencer Dinwiddie. He might be returning for the playoffs. That's going to be huge. So, yeah, they just got to stay healthy and be in it as a team to win the title. And they should get it pretty easily, I think. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.